some people like might take a photo of a dog, but like an animal might not look the best as someone that knows like the behavioural aspect of them.
Yep, so that was one of the reasons. What else? Why would people want a calendar of their animals, or a memento, or a photo album? Why would they want that?
To bring the animals closer to their heart.
Yes.
So like maybe once they've passed away or something.
Now you're narrowing down. See the questions I'm asking you are leading to more redefining your business model, where it could possibly go, getting down to the nuts and bolts. So when people will value this the most is when their animals have probably passed.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity for you to actually maybe look at slightly altering your service. And like, I've got a pet. Animal lovers, they take pictures of their pets all the time. They're on their computers. So you could possibly look at actually offering a service that is when pets have passed, where you actually, they provide all the photos and you can do a beautiful album for them and they come back to that. So that's something you might want to look at considering in your business model as well.
Hi. Look, I think that your timbre, the patience with which you spoke was really good. You lost some of the words and you didn't panic at all. You sort of like kept it cool and natural. You've got a real sort of a smiliness about you that I think is going to make it easy to relate to people, and you genuinely do have passion for what you're talking about with the animals and that. I think seriously underselling, and realistically, if you're going to charge $20 to go to someone's house, and at the moment you have to get transport there, spend a little bit of time, potentially that's an hour, a little bit of time getting to know the person, getting to know what they want to get out of it, getting to know the animal, getting to be able to sort of like present itself, and then going back, how many are you going to fit in a day? Half a dozen? It's not a lot of money in terms of it, and people will pay for pictures of their pets and for things like that. They'll pay a lot more, I think, than potentially you're talking about. So if you wanted to sort of get something out of it, sort of like just, if you undersell it, people don't have as much value for it. And I think that, as Helen was saying, that people will spend hundreds of dollars for the right kind of idea. Do you have any thoughts about what you might want to do with the business later on? I mean, have you thought about, hey, if this really takes off, I would be looking at taking on other people who would assist with doing the photos?
Yeah. I will bring this up. This price at the moment is a starting price at the moment, but eventually once I get more out there, it will get more like higher price.
Because spending money on advertising, talking to people, it's all a cost, and even the paper, some of the printed paper that you'll be providing, I mean, it's hard to make much money out of doing that. And you still want it to be an enterprise, not just a nice thing to do. And from this, you can get into earrings and for living creatures, a whole bunch of things. Doing it at people's house versus doing it elsewhere is also potentially a challenge, because you can take dogs to a park, but you're not going to be able to take a cat to a park. Or a rat necessarily, or some of those others. So you're a little bit limited probably, and certainly again if you're only doing it for $20. But if you do have a veterinary surgery or somewhere that you can sort of even create your own sort of studio to bring them to, or an outdoors place.
I did when I was moved out of school, because I want to keep going on with this for a lot longer. But I wanted to get a place that will become a studio that people can bring their pets to if they want to, and bring them in there if they in like a little studio.
No, cool. And what currently is your marketing strategy? You mentioned social media. Is that just simply you put photos up on Instagram or things like that, or how are you getting people to know about Paws for a pose and making contact with you and saying, hey, how do I get my little Wendy on a necklace?
We'll go through social media, but as well it will maybe spread through the clients that I've already had.
So word of mouth is
the
strategy at the moment mainly.
got to wrap up.
Cool. Is there anything you want from the Sharks?
I'm happy to have a chat to you later. I've got a couple of ideas
Okay.
about how you could actually take this going forward and maybe through some partnerships with some people to actually leverage that off and
Yep.
take advantage of mum's skill set of a vet nurse and things like that. I think you've actually got a real opportunity with mum to help you actually propel this further. So yeah, I'm happy to chat to you further about those ideas.
Yeah, I think early days, but certainly it's a great idea, and people will pay money for it, won't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mum's going to be a massive asset for you.
Mum, not your mum.
Mum is already an asset, but mum will be a great asset for this business. Yes.
All right, Delorean dollars / investment. Start with you, Claire.
Pardon?
Start with you.
I'm going to invest.
Should we do the envelope for each, please?
Yeah, we'll just keep recycling.
Eden, come and take $5 Delorean. I think you've done an excellent job.
Thank you.
You've got lots of potential there.
I like the idea of the presentation. I think that, seriously look at the price, but $20.
I'm going to give you 12. Eden. Good luck.
Awesome. Awesome. Well done.
Well done.
Good job, Eden. So,
Just helping you set up.
It's Caitlin. Thank you.
That was
Lovely.
Caitlin's from Caitlin.
K-A-Y
Okay.
T-L-I-N.
It's a new one on me.
Very different spelling.
It is.
She just let you know when she's ready, or you can,
Caitlin can let us know when she's good and relaxed to go.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath.
Just check, is the feed ready to go? Excellent.
Hi Sharks, my name's Caitlin and today I'm going to be talking to you about my passion towards dance and what I've done to pursue them. So what you just saw was a little snippet from my very first YouTube video of a dance I performed last year at the GCC's Dance Night. So a little bit about who I am. I'm a 16-year-old girl who has a passion for dance and has been dancing for 14 years, performing all different types of styles. So what I want to talk about is why I feel the need to actually bring this up. So I'm here to inspire people who are scared to go out into the world and try something new and actually perform a chance of dancing. So the stereotyping of a dancer is, first thought coming to a person's mind would be skin and bone, flat, no figure, just completely just skinny as. And you look at me and I have performed so much, and being the figure who I am, I'm a true woman and I will never let anyone stop me towards that. So my YouTube channel will be giving more of a variety of showing choreographed pieces that myself has choreographed and talking about why people are bringing up myths, the perfect body, the perfect dancer, and breaking them and telling, hey, no, there is not the perfect body. A perfect body is your own, not what they say. So dance will always be a passion of mine. It will never stop being a passion, and I am so happy to think my YouTube channel could change so many girls' lives and going, hey, you know what, if she can do it, so can I. So thank you, Sharks, and hope you have a good day.
Well done,
Thank
Caitlin.
you, yeah, well done. I start with, it's probably not an area I'm overly familiar with. What do you want to get from the Sharks? What are you looking for in terms of how can we help? I mean, running a YouTube channel and dancing doesn't necessarily take much money,
No,
does it?
it doesn't, because all you need is a camera, basically, and editing. So what I'm kind of looking for is mainly just feedback, I guess. Not really looking for anything much. Like, if you guys have any passions for, like, and think my YouTube channel can actually go far, that would be good to hear.
And what about linking it with obviously the other core message of empowerment or inclusion, if you like, and breaking down the stereotypes? Is that how you going to get that message out there as well, or is it just really just, hey, work it out by just watching?
I'm going to be posting like on social media as well, because you find every single teenager basically is on social media. That's how people are going to see it. I've started a business account on Facebook where I've opened that up to girls who I actually know who have been so terrified to go out there and have a go because they're so scared of society judging them about their body. Like, it breaks me.
Well said. Please.
Are you looking at monetising the business, the YouTube channel? Is that the business model behind it? I haven't seen anything around. Are you wanting to monetise this for the first question?
I guess so, yes. But I'm not a person to really start a business.
Okay.
I just have bought the YouTube channel because I just want society to know, hey, this isn't the perfect dancer. It's who you are, and you're perfect the way you are, not what society tells you.
So how are you going to fund any promotion? So to obviously get your target audience, which I'd like to understand better who your target audience is.
My target audience will be teen girls or anyone who wants to know that you don't need to be the perfect body to dance.
And have you attracted any of those people to your YouTube
Yes.
channel? And how did you find them?
So one of them was actually my niece.
Yeah.
So a family relative of mine. She's 12 years old, and she came up to me and goes, "Hey KK, I want to become like you. I want to be able to get out there and dance, but I feel like I'm not the perfect body. Like, I'm too fat." And I broke. I was like, "You're not. You're not fat. That's what society has basically told you."
Yeah.
And I wanted to go, "Nah, you're perfect the way you are. No one has the perfect body."
Thank you.
Caitlin, I love it.
Thank you.
I really love it. You could monetize this down the track
Yeah.
with, ads coming
Yeah.
into your site. There is a huge market for what you're doing. There are so many dance schools on the coast here. You could reach out to all of those girls to start with who all have friends. You could reach out to those
I've
schools.
started to reach out to my old dance school I used to perform at.
Brilliant. And I think your core message of anybody can do this, you don't have to have the perfect body, you don't have to be, I can tell you're a dancer anyway because of the way you stand, the way you hold yourself,
Yeah.
you present very well.
Thank you.
I like the fact that you're coming from a social enterprise standpoint, that it's not money that's driving you, it's your passion. Your passion could lead to an income
Yes.
with this. Your photography, whoever's done your photography is lovely.
Dance.
Yeah.
My old dance school had done
Now
it,
you-
and then my photo shoot.
Okay. So you have a Facebook page?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. There's also being able to tie this up with young girls who are going into the modelling.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I would like to link you up with a young friend of mine whose name is Zaria Lamont. She's just started her own business, modelling agency, because she started modelling at 13 and realised that young girls were being ripped off.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was they just wanted money, money, money. So now she provides a service for young girls where she sets up photo shoots, etc., and it's all about being comfortable in your skin. And I think that you could maybe align with her. She's 17, and so if you would like to do that,
Yes, please.
if you can let me have your best contact details.
My phone number.
Okay. Or do you have an email address?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if we do that at okay, can you just give me that briefly now?
K.F.
K.F.
Milvain, MIL.
MIL
VAIN @gmail.com.
Thank you. She set that up. There was no, even though people pay for it, she has a passion like you that's driven her to provide a service, and she's going great guns. And I think that you could do the same. And by the way, her sister is, she's in your just coming into your teen age bracket, and she is a dancer. And so I think there could be some real opportunity there for you, and I'd like to wish you very good luck. I think your presentation was excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Excellent presentation.
Well done.
Oh, Delorean dollars, before you go,
Oh.
I've got 20 for you because I love your passion and your sense of purpose around that. Stay true to those things because they are the ones that are going to hold you grounded and steadfast through all the changes. But definitely keep an eye on how you can actually monetize it, because at some point it will start costing you money, hard
Yes.
cost, and you'll need to actually find a way of actually paying
Thank
it.
you so much.
I've just gone lucky 7 because it's a small amount of money and you're not necessarily what you're after.
Yeah.
It's not your motivation, but if in any way, just don't stop the passion. I'm sure it won't stop the passion, will it?
$25 Delorean dollars.
Thank you so much.
You've got great potential to take this to a monetized state if you continue to let your passion and your enthusiasm drive you.
And your ability to relate to your peers as well in a much
Absolutely,
more mature
she's
way
all
than
over
most
it.
of them. Yeah.
You totally understand it. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
And Caitlin, you are definitely a social enterprise in the making, so
Yeah.
start researching what social
Yeah.
enterprises are, please, and
Okay.
stay attuned to that.
Thank you. Okay. How would you feel in Nadia's position? Meet Nadia. In abusive homes, children are often in a terrible position of trying to defend for their families from violence. This was the case for Nadia, who vowed to keep her mother and her 2 younger brothers safe when she was just 14. Nadia's dad often beat their mother so viciously that she ended up in hospital. She and her 2 brothers would sit outside in the dark listening to the screams of her mother, making a heart-wrenching decision whether to go inside to protect their mother or to stay in the safety of their carport. That's when the dad would turn on them as well. The effects of violence spilled into every part of their lives. Nadia felt anxious all day at school, not knowing what was waiting for her when she came home. And even food was an issue because her mother couldn't put food on the table for dinner while their dad was on a rampage.
1 in 4 of all children are exposed to family and domestic violence during their childhood. Between 30 to 60% of perpetrators of intimate partner violence also abuse children in the household. Children who are exposed to violence in the home are 15 times more likely to be physically or sexually assaulted than the national average. Studies show that living with domestic violence can cause physical and emotional harm to children and young people. And these include, but not only, anxiety, depression, emotional distress, eating and sleeping disturbances, low self-esteem, self-harm, feeling guilty or blaming themselves for the violence, and trouble forming positive relationships.
Teddy bears have a positive developmental impact on children and can help reduce anxiety as well as strengthen their ability to express themselves and form relationships. Part of the reason why teddy bears provide comfort for children is that these transitional objects give a child a sense of protection and security,
An article published by the National Centre of Biotechnology Information suggested that even though these inanimate objects cannot provide reassurance, guidance, or affection, its presence provides children with a sense of protection.
Hi, I'm Angeli,
And I'm Kylie.
and we're starting a business called Loving Hope. Loving Hope gives customers the opportunity to support children affected by domestic violence. So we give teddy bears can make such a great impact on children's lives, and Loving Hope does this by allowing children to have something to love and something to hold. We have 3 package deals. Our first one is the buyer would spend $15 to give 1 teddy bear away to a child affected by domestic violence. The second premium deal would be for the buyer to buy one, so they buy 2 teddy bears, they receive 1 teddy bear, and they give 1 teddy bear away to a child affected by domestic violence. And the deluxe package is they get one themselves, the buyer, and they give an amazing 3 bears away to 3 different children affected by domestic violence.
There is no other business quite like ours. There may be different organisations already providing the needs for these children, but our unique value proposition is what gives us that edge above all others. This is that our profitable business provides customers with the choice of donation or donating but also receiving a product in return. This doesn't just differentiate us from others, but also opens up our target market and our customer base, but from a much larger scale. After receiving feedback from many people, we've taken everything on board and realised many people want different things. For example, someone might be willing to donate and want to support such an amazing cause, except don't want to receive anything in return, as they might not want the clutter of having a bear. But for parents, grandparents and caregivers, they may want to donate, but also receive a bear themselves to give to their own child. And then there's an option for the people willing to go above and beyond and might be blessed to donate such a large amount.
Our goal is to give hope to these children who are in difficult times, and to spread such a powerful and positive message. We want to give back to the community and express this through our passion for children and our passion and love for children and their well-being and happiness. Today we are looking from this experience to get an investment to be able to buy and afford our first teddy bear order. So we've already spoken to many manufacturers, in particular one in New South Wales, and so that's the price there. If we were to buy our first order of 100 bears, it would cost $398 plus $25 postage, and in order to pay that back, it would be only 28 standard package deals, or 17 premium deals, or 9 deluxe package deals. So, and that can also vary, like 15 standard and 9 deluxe, things like that. Yeah. So thank you for your time and interest in our business, and look forward to any questions you have.
Well done.
Well done on the
Excellent.
presentation, yeah. We'll work on it, so it's good. Helen, did you want to?
Yeah, I love it. I love the idea of the bears. So there's a couple of things that are missing in your presentation. The logistics of how you're actually getting it to those people.
Yeah.
You've talked about what the cost was and the margins, so how you actually are funding ongoing. Have you got any relationships with the domestic shelters already?
No, not yet.
So you've not tested your idea yet to actually see if these children actually want the bears?
No.
No. Well, we have gotten asked around whether people would actually want to buy the bears for validation stuff, which
Yeah.
we've gotten, but not from children themselves.
Yes, so
Yeah.
that's the other part of the validation process,
Yeah.
is you actually need to understand how you get that into children's
Yeah.
hands.
Yes.
So the process would be, if we haven't contacted them yet, but we would need to organise a time and place in our community, not where they are, because it's all in hiding. So we need to ring them and talk to them then, and then they would distribute it, like the actual shelters
Yep.
and the refuge.
So that was probably my biggest gap.
Yeah.
You've told the story really well, domestic violence, so I've put on here, you really understand the problem. You've got an idea of a potential solution, but you've only got part of the idea. Yes, we will absolutely, as people want to buy these, knowing we're going to gift. It's definitely the Tom's model. I even do that now. I get phone calls saying, would you like to get a bear, and I donate it to the hospital. That's not going to be the sell. The sell is going to be the children who they get that. And that's
Okay.
probably the missing link that you need to develop a bit more. And I would suggest before you even get to that point, have that part developed.
Okay. Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw you a few weeks ago, and I think the idea is sort of like makes it is more solid than it was before. But the same query is, as Helen said, sort of getting the bears into the actual users, privacy associations. You know how you're able to do that, and the intention of that. I mean, there's two sets. There's people who are still in the abusive situation, and there's the other people who are, if you like, at a respite away from that. That's probably easy to be able to do that because you can provide it through the homes. But again, the interaction between you directly and the people who are in the tragic situations, that's, you know, a real grey area that you haven't really worked out how we find out who they are. And the only other thing is, are you a charity, or did you want to make money out of it? I mean, there's not a lot of
Yeah, so we'll
cash
be
about.
a profitable business. So like getting, there'll be profit in which we buy the bears and then sell the bears for.
So for each 100, you're looking at about 10% on those sorts of figures, roughly, or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Which is not a lot in terms of the running costs to be able to survive on, though.
Yeah.
If you did say 9 deluxe packages, I mean, would you want to do, how frequently do you think you would do that? You know, once a month?
Maybe, yeah. I don't think we've looked at that part yet.
Again, so that would be $50 once a month
Yeah.
between the two of you.
Yeah.
You'd have to stay at home for a little while.
Yeah.
Those are the only sort of things that, you know, okay, if it is something, how do we actually sort of make some money? How many of these do we actually sort of need? And how big is the market? I mean, 1 in 4 is a lot of kids, but 1 in 4 is not necessarily who you're going to be able to approach.
Yeah, there is a massive like target market for us, like customer base. We have gone out and like asked around and done like our research and stuff, and there is like a lot of people already on lists that's like willing to buy our products. But we first just obviously
We
need
need-
to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Lots of people willing to buy. What I'm saying is still people who you're actually going to give it to.
Yes.
I mean, if for every one person that you're going to buy a deluxe package, you need to have 3 people who are going to receive.
Yes.
That's the list that you don't have yet.
Yeah. I think it's just making that call and getting the contact with the main person we would just hand over the teddies and they would distribute them.
But again, that's the big thing in terms of
yeah.
actually sort of making the pitch. And if someone's going to commit to it from a business perspective, they need to know that side of it is not just sort of like an idea, but actually is something you can actually put in practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, makes sense.
But no, great stuff.
Thank you.
Girls, many years ago in the UK, I used to work in a women's refuge, so I know exactly what you're talking about, and I know that these bears would be extremely valuable. It is hard to contact individual refuges, but there are national associations set up to combat domestic violence, and I would certainly suggest that you make one of those organisations your central go-to place, have the conversation so that you could supply the bears directly to them, and then they would distribute them nationally to refugees across Australia, hopefully. So a single bear is roughly $3 night, about $4 plus postage, and your selling rate is price is $15. As far as a business model goes, I would maybe suggest profit for purpose, so that you eventually can take, you could take a wage, but you also, the rest of the money goes back into developing your business, your marketing, and maybe your product lines. Certainly your advertising. I can see that this could be easily a national campaign. I love the heart that you've used, I love the words that you've used. I think it's got massive potential, but you do need to look at finding a national contact and finding a champion within that will champion your cause and get it through to the next stage. what I think is incredibly powerful is even though you're young women, you're still children, really, in the eyes of, you know, maybe the law, and that this is coming from, you know, older teenagers, I think is a very powerful message. So I think the work that you've done so far is admirable. Your presentation was excellent. The fact that you've gone through, and I can go through every single box, and I'm actually short of things to say other than go and find the right person at a national level and talk to them.
Yes.
And then I would also think about contacting local media, you know, radio, press and television. You've got a great news story, okay? And I would contact those people to really set your business up and running once you've got these first 100 bears,
Yeah.
okay? Have you built a website yet?
No, not yet. So websites, we've been looking at the cheapest we can find at the moment. It's $25 a month.
Of course,
Yes.
Yeah,
Which
so
we're not
the host-
making any profit yet, so
Yeah.
we can't really.
So
Get them on
kind of
Facebook's
going
free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Social
And
media.
I would disagree with Claire. I don't think you need a national sponsor. I think you've got another way. Keep it local, keep it very nice, because the media will want a local story on there. But I don't look outside of where domestic violence is happening. You're looking at shelters. That's at the most extreme case. There are children in homes who are, Nadia, you talked about experiencing domestic violence. So where do those people go? They go to community centres for help. They go to other aspects.
Yes.
They will be a lot easier to actually connect in with than domestic shelters.
Okay.
Okay? And what you're going to do is give them a sense of hope before they feel hopeless.
Yes.
And that you can do at a very local area. We've got community centres, Nambour, Maroochydore. Go and have a chat to the people who run those centres and say,
Yeah.
we want to support children who are getting domestic violence. What's your experience around there? Do your market research with them. Find out if they know how you can actually tap into that. Domestic shelters may not be the way to go forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You were doing something with the t-shirts, not anymore, is that idea of class?
So we're still, I wrote it down. So the bears in front of you, they were examples
Yep.
to show you so you can touch, feel, and they're part of our cause to represent what we're trying to say. But these, so if you go back, those are the bears from New South Wales.
Yeah.
The manufacturing company that we're
yes.
in contact with currently
Yes.
for getting our bears.
So they're $4 each just by themselves, and we're talking to them at the moment. It would cost us $5 for them to, $6 for them to make the bears and put t-shirts with the logos on them. So we're still thinking, like trying to decide if we put t-shirts on them or just go with that, depending on costs, and because that would also mean we have a minimum of 600 quantity that we need to order. So we're trying to just
No, you don't
start.
have to do it at this stage,
Yeah.
as I say, and the branding itself, as
Yes.
everybody said, is nice. You know, you've got that. It's subtle. It's not too in your face,
Yeah.
and that can sort of like carry on, and people can have it as an add-on, as an accessory, whatever, as
Well,
another thing.
another thought, don't go by the bears. I've got 2 children who are teenagers now. How
You
many
can't take their
teenagers have
bears.
got? Yes, you can take their bears. Get them to donate their bears.
I'll still
Okay.
And start the process
No,
of actually donating their
nobody
bears
gives
and passing
bears.
them on.
Bears have got, no, I would never give my
Bears,
bear
no,
away.
No, sorry,
never.
you can't tell me what I can't do.
No, I'm saying for me, I would never
Yeah.
give my bear
I
away.
do. If I was giving my bear away to someone who needed it more than I did, rather than collecting dust on my shelf, and I've got a daughter who was the most empathetic daughter, she would give all her bears away. Okay?
It's-
Get
yeah,
people
it's
into
like,
the
yeah,
cause as another way of doing it. Ask if people are willing. Have you got bears that are collecting dust you could be willing to donate? That would cut your costs down substantially.
There certainly would be some, you know.
Oh,
There'd be some.
op
That's
shops
the
are
thing.
full of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just saying from my
There's
personal.
another idea. No, that's right. Good place.
But the other thing is, as you talked about in shelters, that when women and children leave home, they generally leave with nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's why I know these bears in shelters would be so important.
Yes.
Because children very often leave with nothing. So to have something, and that goes right back to the research that you mentioned.
All the like positive effects of teddy bear
Exactly.
would give like
Yeah.
to children. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, we have some pennies, I think, for you as well, don't we?
Yes, some Delorean dollars. Yes.
For to go towards the first shipment of bears. 25. Oh, there's a big one coming in on the right.
I'm giving you 40 because I totally believe in what you're doing, and I think I know that will make a difference.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And 30 from me. You've got a great idea, just put some more thought around the detail.
Yes.
Yes.
Well done.
Thank you.
That was a good time.
Just look for the thumbs up from.
The 80s was an era with lots of bad fashion choices. Leg warmers, sweatbands, mullets, and spandex. And recently, an 80s trend has come back into fashion. But luckily for us, it's none of those.
Scrunchies have made a huge comeback in the last few years, with most girls wearing them on a daily basis. We use this opportunity to create our business.
I'm Anaya, this is Natalie and Saren, and we are So 87.
We sent a survey to girls from the ages of 15 to 16 to assess the needs of our potential customers.
The main problems responders listed with their scrunchies was that they had too much fabric, were too expensive, and their scrunchies broke too easily.
75% of this same group said that they wear scrunchies daily, and 89% of respondents said that they would like more.
Using this research, we created our business, So 87.
So 87 can address these issues by pricing our scrunchies reasonably at $5 each, which was the average price given by those who took our survey, hand making our scrunchies to ensure good quality and attention to detail, and making our scrunchies out of repurposed fabrics bought from op shops to significantly reduce waste.
93% of respondents from our previous survey said that they would appreciate the use of repurposed fabric and would be more likely to purchase a product because of it.
If you'd like to have a look at our product yourselves, we have some here, some of our first So 87 scrunchies with us today.
Throw them on the table, girls.
Like literally throw them.
Oh, that might not be
You might miss the table if you do that.
Get the coffee cup.
We plan to sell our products within the school environment and through our social media page and Instagram to begin with.
After just speaking to the girls in our grade, we already have more than 10 potential customers within our target market.
We've also received positive input from multiple teachers within the school who are interested in buying scrunchies for personal use, for children or friends, and also for uses such as Operation Christmas Child. While we all share jobs and responsibilities, there is a team member who knows the ins and outs of each task.
Anaya has experience in making scrunchies herself and is able to ensure the product is made to a high standard.
Nat is quite analytical, so she organises and takes care of financial responsibilities. Saren is creative and focuses on design and social media advertising.
Once we've developed a strong customer base, we believe it would be beneficial to donate a percentage of our profits to an appropriate charity.
In future, we would also like to run a website to sell our scrunchies online and deliver them to our customers.
For this, we already purchased sustainable packaging, but currently we are not able to justify e-commerce costs. To expand our business, investment would be able to contribute greatly by funding e-commerce and material costs. Thank you for your time this morning. It is still early days in our business, however we are asking for $120 to fund a website and e-commerce, potentially further investment for raw product, and your contacts to expand our business in future.
Are there any questions you have about our business or our team?
Well done, girl.
Thank you. I think you practiced that a few times.
Once.
Script
I wish
helps.
I said that.
There's just
So, how long do you think the scrunchy market lifespan is? Have you had a think about that?
Honestly, I don't expect it to be super long, but it has been a trend for a couple of years now, and it's at this point, it's either at its peak or it's still growing, so it's really popular at the moment. Most of the girls in this school are wearing scrunchies to school every day, which is, I love.
And currently you're hand making them all?
Yeah.
How many scrunchies can you make, say, on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Well, I was doing it for about an hour last night, and I made about 7, and that was with like packing up and setting up.
And we actually have a space booked every Wednesday morning for 80 minutes to make them.
Okay. But you could make them in your spare time, free
Yeah.
time at home,
Yeah.
if you start getting sizable orders, because that's the only thing that would, I know that you're targeting your local market to validate what you're doing first, which is great. I commend you for that. So, but if you suddenly got 100 girls all wanting scrunchies, you're going to be very busy for quite a few hours. Do either of you two sew, or do you leave it all to Anaya?
We've both been making them at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
we've
yeah, I'm
actually,
teaching them as I go.
Only started the business this term, so I've been focusing on getting the presentations ready for it.
Okay. And the fabrics that you're using, you're sourcing those from
Op shops.
op shops, and have you thought about maybe asking any of the girls if they've got clothes that they really love that they can't wear anymore but had special memories for them, that you could then make a personal
Yeah, I think
scrunchie?
that was one of the ideas we had about saying, like, if you do have a fabric that you want to like give to us so that we can make scrunchies, then we can do that.
Because that's another completely different, that's a point of difference.
Yeah.
And also, it's, of course, it's not just girls at school that are wearing scrunchies. They may have mums, aunties, grandmas that might also like to purchase from you, but also might have special pieces of fabric or, clothes that they've loved to death but are really either going to throw them away. So that might be something for you to think about.
Yeah.
Well done, anyway.
Definitely. Thank you.
Cool. Another part of the market, my son wears scrunchies. The boys are also like doing it more at the festival, men buns and that sort of stuff. But they're going to festivals. He's got a scrunchie in there as well, and he doesn't know how to know these things. Again, the only sort of like big query, the two things about whereabouts are you going to be selling it in terms of beyond your friends. I mean, whether it's going to go through markets, whether it's going to go online. Hand making is great, but it's really hard to make money out of doing that. If you can do, even if you get up to 10 in an hour, that's $50 in an hour between the three of you, including materials, postage, blah 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 blah. It's sort of like there's an awful lot that you need to be able to do to be able to make any kind of living for yourselves and start putting money in there. The thing I particularly liked is you're the first people actually sort of gave the pitch. Nice presentation. Then you sort of said, "Show us the money at the end," and also for your contacts, you're sort of saying not just the money, but also this is something we really want to do. And I think you banded well off each other as well. Probably talked a little bit too quickly. Could slow it down, sort of like. But again, you only sort of practiced it once, and when you're reading, it's very much a habit that you have. But just take stock. Look up at the end of each line. We'll just slow it down for you as well. To make a pitch, but it was certainly all understood. What are these for? Sorry, I might have missed that bit.
This is packaging.
For the scrunchie to go in, when you are
if we
sending it
start
to
selling
someone.
online.
Does that cost much?
No, that's actually quite cheap, the packaging that we found. Yeah.
And it's
Cents,
sustainable.
or is it like 10 cents or 5 cents or 15 cents?
So you can get a pack of 100 for $20.
Okay.
That size.
$2.
No, $20 for 100. Sorry, cents. Yeah,
20 cents.
that's right. Cool.
Thank you. Excellent presentation, girls, and I really love, I've got a soft spot for waste. You need to highlight that more because that's really topical. We talk about scrunchies on trend, waste is on trend. So you need to up that ante and talk about how you're taking waste and sustainability into your business model. Highlight that more. Definitely going to be a problem scaling, but I like that actually keeping it quite small, testing it. Make them hand by hand, sell them one at a time to the point where you don't even need these for the moment and start getting feedback from people. Make sure that people are willing to actually buy the recycled product, the way you've made it, the tension, because I know everyone's hair's thick, thin, etc., how it works, all that sort of stuff, refine it. And I think then you've got an opportunity to actually start doing some partnerships with maybe some schools and actually develop scrunchies using the school colours.
Yeah, that was one of the things we came up with for future. We didn't include it, but one of the teachers said, these students wearing scrunchies and they're kind of not supposed to be doing that. Why don't you do it in a way that benefits
Correct.
the school?
So
Yeah,
start
that'd
with
be
your
so
initial
cool.
school and go to and say, this is our business model, this is our plan, we want you to be one of our customers. Put the thought into it, because if they're going to be a big customer, you'll need to put some thought around how you're going to do that, where you buy the school material. So stay away from the reds, the greens, the blues. Go for the pattern in the uniform. That's what makes it unique. And then that can be sold at the school uniform shop, and then the kids are actually wearing it that way. So that's another potential customer. Start with one school, nut the bolts and iron out all the kinks, get your supply in check, because at that point you'll be looking at orders that may be beyond you to actually sew. You'll have to look at some kind of people to actually outsource that to, test that model first with the school, then you've got a replicable model that you can actually take to other schools.
And a lot of the materials you'll be able to probably pick up for nothing, because kids, my kids anyway, always ripping your uniforms and that
Yep.
sort of stuff, so they're going to be thrown
Second-hand
out, so you
uniforms
can
that
use
get
that.
thrown that the school
Yeah.
shop can't use anymore, there's
Yeah.
your material straight away free.
Yeah.
Okay?
So scrunchies are not allowed, is that right? Just hair ties, is it?
Well, they're allowed, but it has to be the school colours.
Yeah. The last trend I think was like ear piercing, so the school's pretty around with scrunchies at this point.
Work
We're
with the
working
school.
on guns and knives.
Work with the school. So you could have a school range and a non-school range. Now you're branching out into different ranges in your scrunchies, and then look at that. And the great thing about it is if you're developing something for the teenager that's on trend, then you can start looking at your business model about what else is on trend for teenagers, and then work with that. So then you're not just left with scrunchies.
Yeah.
Lovely, yeah, thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Well done.
Thank you.
We're ready?
Yep. Okay. Did you know that reshaping and recycling glass creates 6 times the more global warming gases than plastic? Most people would argue that glass is more environmentally friendly than plastic. However, glass is more expensive to recycle, manufacture, reshape, and it produces more pollution. However, doing so reduces the space in landfills that would otherwise be taken up by used bottles and jars. The environment needs us to start repurposing our used jars and bottles without the chemicals produced with reshaping them. We are going to do this by repurposing glass jars to package our candles. Thus, we are eliminating the pollutive process that's slaughtering our environment.
How many households do you know of that don't have a candle somewhere? Not many, right? With more than 4 billion kilograms of wax being sold in candles every year in America, approximately 50 million candles would be available. Needless to say, candles are popular. We found that 82% of the people we surveyed would want candles that eliminate pollution. With this many people invested in buying candles and this much toxicity entering our environment, it is evident that a solution is essential. Thus, combining the two to form candles that bypass the wasteful process of reshaping the glass and a comforting, calming candle into one master product is going to be a popular business.
Imagine being able to open your front door after a long day at work and light a candle that you know assisted in reducing toxic waste. As the calming lavender scents prepare you for restful sleep. Sounds like a dream, right? Research has shown that in addition to being great decor, candles are beneficial to mental health, creating an atmosphere that is cozy, comfortable, and relaxing. They have been even suggested to calm anxiety. Candles aid you in practicing prayer and meditation by providing a visualization technique in addition to creating atmosphere. In addition to many other benefits, my personal favourite is when you take your candle on a holiday with you, you can create a comforting home environment wherever you go.
While we do have competition with overseas companies using recycled wax, there seems to only be companies on the market that allow you to bring a jar of the old candle from the same company back to reuse it. Yet they are still producing new jars from the original candle. Additionally, there are plenty of DIY tutorials, however we have found that there are no products following the same system as our own. So what is separating us from the rest of the crowd? We know that candles are a luxury item bought with spare money, therefore we are going to be producing them at a reasonable price. They will be high quality, trendy and ultimately beneficial to the environment, in addition to a portion of the proceeds going towards a mental health organisation. We are aiming to keep our target market as open as possible, however we will be targeting our marketing techniques to working women over age 15.
Our idea is simple, to make and sell with a basic formula to construct the candle and recycled jars available in multiple places. We'll regulate the amount of wax to each candle by weight, ensuring that the price of each candle compared to the product is even. We will be purchasing the materials at a wholesale price and selling the product at a higher price to cover the labour. It will cost us $2 to make one 100-gram candle, and we will sell it for $8. So after donating to our chosen organisation, we'll be making a $3 profit per item. To begin with, we'll be selling out on our Instagram page, which is the current trend for selling low-cost products such as second-hand clothes. When we have a significant money flow and are selling more than 10 candles per week for 4 weeks, we will create a website and a PayPal payment system. Postage for these items will be separate.
We're going to create candles that are affordable, high quality, and ultimately contribute towards two great causes, the environment and mental health.
Excellent.
Well done.
Well done, girls.
Haven't got any samples to show or pretty pictures.
We have a picture, but it's not pretty.
It's not
Can you show us? At least that's
sure.
honest.
That's why we didn't put it up
Do you
there.
have it?
Yeah. I'll bring it over to you guys. So this is our first prototype.
Okay.
It wasn't perfect, but
Yeah, well, yeah, it's first prototype. So just the one wick, single wick?
yes, but the wick that we've got there was actually a paddle pop stick.
Okay.
Because we made it really quickly, so we're planning on getting better quality wicks so that they burn better and there's a higher flame and more of the wax around it burns as well.
Right, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't smoke the room out.
Yeah.
Are you using reclaimed wax, or you're just buying wax chips that are...
We'll be buying wax chips.
So help me understand the glass component, because you, beginning of your presentation, you talks a lot about the environment and the waste contribution to glass and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't quite get the full picture. I understand all of that. So where are you getting your glass? Are you buying new glasses and allowing people to reuse them, or are you getting already second-hand glasses and repurposing them?
We'll be buying secondhand, well not necessarily buying, but we'll be sourcing secondhand glass jars that we will be putting our wax into. And so our idea is that we'll use weight. So for example, we'll put 90 grams of wax into every jar. And so the jars might be all different sizes, but you have, like, you can know for sure that when you get our product, you're not getting more for your money or less for your money depending on the jar. Yeah, it's always the same. It's
I
consistent.
like your thinking through that. I was impressed that you'd actually thought that through, because glass jars are all different sizes and shapes. And then you'd be taking and putting your branding on each of those glass jars when you repurpose them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what happens when the candle is burned down to nothing and they have the empty jar?
They can bring it back to us and we'll refill.
Okay. What happens if you're selling online and you send one to somebody in New South Wales?
They will post it back.
Do you think people will post back?
If there's a discount involved.
If you're selling it for $8,
So I'm happy to partner with you on that, because I've got people who are sharing glass jars on my platform on Spare Harvest, and specifically candle jars. So I can help you with that. They
That
don't
would be
have to
great.
sell them back to you. They just put them back onto Spare Harvest and they go part through the circular economy. You can access the ones you want, and then your customers can put them back on there and move them on to other people. So let's continue chatting how I can support you in that. I don't think they're going to post them back.
Yeah.
You don't want the extra effort on cost of glass and postage both ways. You're already going to have to wrap it really well. In the first instance, to actually get it out there, you don't want the hassle of bringing those glass jars back.
Yeah.
There's going to be enough locally that you'll be able to source. Question for you. You've already got a purposeful component to it by using those glass jars that are already existing and not bringing new glass jars into the marketplace. That is already a strong, purposeful message of the environmental impact. Why do you want to donate to mental health?
We feel that it's a very important cause that needs to be supported, and I think that how beneficial candles are to your mental health, creating that atmosphere and encouraging relaxing and taking downtime, we feel that that would also go well with our project to donate towards that as well.
That needs to be stronger in your messaging. You've got really strong on the glass jar side of things. At the current presentation, it was like, we'll donate to mental health. You need to put more detail around it, why that is important to you, so people understand it and connect to it.
I got that okay.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that because of the calming sort of thing you were talking about. You talked about scented candles, or that was part of the pitch
Lavender.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lavender,
is that
yeah.
something that
Lavender does.
is an additional
Yeah.
type thing?
So all of our candles will be scented with, we were looking at either essential oils, although they're not as effective, or fragrance oils. That's what our first prototype was made from, lavender, and we had a crystal on
A
top as well.
selenite crystal that is supposedly to have benefits. What the benefits were?
I can't remember.
Something
Yeah.
like calming.
I may be sort of like missing something. Isn't burning candles not necessarily as in burning anything with a flame? Is it not necessarily which has smoke coming off, or does that depend on the type of wax that you use that is not environmentally friendly? Having a wood fire, for example, I mean, lovely thing to do, relaxing, blah blah blah, but it's not particularly good for the environment, I suppose, because
It
of
comes
the,
down to the quality of the wick. You almost get
Right.
those smokeless coming out of the
so
wick.
so that's the wick, is it?
Yes.
That's what I didn't know. So yeah, okay. So it's nothing to do with the wax. Is burning wax is fine. Okay, cool.
My only comment on the donating to a worthy cause, like some kind of mental health, whether it's Into the Blue, or some other
Beyond Blue.
Beyond Blue, that's it, or some organisation similar to that, is that out of $8, $2 is like a really big chunk, and you know, it's going to cost you $3. Is that $3 in just wax?
No.
That's the
that
whole
will-
thing.
The whole thing. So we'll have a candle for $3.
And that includes your branding?
Yes, I
Yeah,
believe so.
Okay.
cents a week.
Sorry, he was buying at 2, selling at 8, and having $3 profit. Isn't that what it was? Or did I write that
Buying
down
at
wrong?
3, selling at 8,
Fine.
$5,
That's right, okay.
and then $2. You know, that's 40% of your. It's admirable, but if you want to turn it into a
Yeah.
business that's profitable, maybe start at looking at maybe 10%. You know, and most companies don't give anything away to good causes, so 10% is a pretty good start, and then you can build on that, because you're going to need the money that you're making initially to continue your business, and you're going to need it for things like marketing, your website, or whatever else, or investing in colours, different coloured chips. They might be more expensive. I don't know, but I think before I committed to giving such a large chunk of your earnings initially.
And certainly another way, a lot of companies who provide profits to, a percentage of their profits, they wait until they're actually the end of the year and work out what the profit is, and they've reduced all their costs.
Yeah.
But when you are providing a product, it's not unusual saying $1 of this goes to a certain charity. But I think that, $2 initially might be a little bit large. At the end of the year, when you're making poodles
Yes.
of money,
Yes.
you can then decide to sort of put additional amounts wherever you want to do. But just while you're starting out, to be able to take that much of your operating costs is, probably
I think you've got an
staggering.
opportunity to, because I missed where the mental health, I understand candles are relaxing and things like that, but you'll have to do more work on your communication about the mental health. So maybe focus on the glass jar, the waste message, as I said to the girls beforehand. Waste is on trend at the moment, utilise that. I know mental health is too, and then maybe as part of that, once you've got profit at the end, you can go, okay, we're donating this amount to mental health, and do a whole campaign on why you're doing mental health. Then the messages are separate. Your day-to-day business is about the waste message, but then the donation is about we're a really great company, we've made a profit, people have supported us, reduced their waste footprint, and now we want to donate to mental health.
You do have a name of the company, do you?
Yes.
Remake candles.
Remade, that's it.
So
Yeah. Okay.
It's that on the screen, the whole.
I know. It disappeared then when I was in. And how are you going to be marketing?
It's done.
At the moment through social media and word of mouth, that kind of
And-
online presence.
And getting on Spare Harvest and things like
Yeah.
that. Contacts.
Yep.
Okay.
All
Any
right.
other queries?
No, I think we're good.
I like it because I see the amount of glass jars that come onto Spare Harvest on a day-to-day basis, and I think you're onto a winner there. There is lots of glass jars left over, and if you can link the glass jar to some stories, which is what I've been able to do, watch how someone's waste has actually made an impact, then that will be beautiful there as well. So I love it. So.
dollars here as well.
And a business card.
Awesome, thank you
Make
so
sure you
much.
follow up, please.
I will.
We will.
Olivia and Alex.
Did you have a different idea?
Did you know that Australians spend an estimated $11 billion on sporting and physical activity participation fees alone? Our goal is simple. We want to eliminate barriers that are limiting kids from participation in sports. Over 33% of Australian youth are not participating in any sport outside of school due to expensive participation fees or lack of required equipment. This statistic really demonstrates how restricting some of these barriers can be. This is an alarming issue in Australia and that we look to help solve.
To achieve and fund our goal, we have decided to start up a fitness clothing line with a major selling point of with every fitness clothing purchase. The customer's money will be going towards improving participation in youth sports across the country.
Fitness clothing in Australia revenues over $2 billion annually. Evidently, a very large market for massive potential for startups just like our own. The fitness clothing industry is also growing at a rate of over 5% annually due to gyms and fitness centres drastically increasing the overall popularity of fitness clothing.
A major problem within the industry currently, we believe, is to do with the actual purchase of this clothing. At the moment, profits are going towards the major sporting companies and brands. We solve this issue by supporting youth in sport to help get them involved and participating. This gives our customers a reason to want to wear our clothing and to buy from us over other brands.
In Australia, fitness is a huge industry with multiple manufacturers nationally. Currently, these companies, if at all, are just donating some of their profits to charities and organisations. Therefore, consumers are left without knowing how their money is being spent. We want to change this. We want our customers to know exactly what they are supporting with their purchases. Being a lot more specific and direct with our customers creates a sense of community where customers feel more involved with our project and that their contribution is more appreciated and valued.
Our plan is to order popular sized t-shirts to start off with, the unisex style. These ones. They cost $10 each, and using a custom printing company you can transfer our designs onto these blanks. So the design is this one at the moment, front and back. We've got a quote from one printing company at $6 each for the printing and $10 for the shirt, which production cost is $16 each, and we look to sell from anywhere from $25 to $30. So allowing the $10 profit margin up to $15. We require an investment in order to start producing these shirts and launch our brand. With the $120 investment, we believe we are able to produce 7 different shirts and create a website. With the profits from these sales, we are able to purchase more stock and continue to grow our brand. An increased investment will allow us to purchase more stock and grow our brand much faster.
Originally, our profits will be going towards growing the brand and being able to manufacture more clothing. But further down the track of our project, we're looking to use profits from sales to support sporting in youth across Australia. This will look like supporting rural clubs and disadvantaged communities.
So we look to connect with different clubs and parents across Australia to help support them with disadvantaged families, to help them get involved in sport. Obviously, with some of the stats before, it's like a third of all kids don't do sport outside of school, and some of the major factors are because they simply just can't afford it or don't have the equipment. So by contact, I think we're talking about on our website, once you have our story, and so people can connect there and say, we're a rural club in, say, South Australia, we're struggling to have footballs, and we'll help them out. And that's, so when people buy the shirt, they know that they're supporting that club and it gets behind them and they're more involved.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Well done, boys.
Well done, guys. Obviously, I've seen you before in the fishbowl, and I'm really impressed that you actually took my advice and you've redesigned your shirts, and even on the back there we've got driven to provide. with your Insta tag as well. I really liked your project from the start, from when you were in Fishbowl. I think it's got great potential because it has a social message. I like the fact that you've already mocked up your shirts for today. I'm really impressed with that. So, do you think that maybe rather than a website you just start with Facebook? Or do you
Yeah.
think it's important that you have a website initially?
That's what I put down too. I don't think you need a website. You've got your Insta on there. You push everything through your Insta.
Yeah. I don't think a website's necessary. I'm sure we could sell it through Facebook.
Yeah.
And we also talked with one of the other Delorean team, Mr. McGuire, and he was telling us how he could help us because through Facebook you join groups and you can like sporting communities and it'd be a lot easier. You tell them this is our plan. So that's we've yet to make a Facebook, but
I think getting your message really clear about how a percentage from your shirt sales is going to be used, and then connecting obviously with the clubs that will benefit from that and get them onto your Facebook page as quickly as possible. So making those alliances early on, let them know what you're doing, because they may well have people in their sporting clubs that will buy your shirts, because then it will help create more potential for them to get kits or equipment. And okay, so what was the? It was like around about $10 to do a shirt, and then what was the price to print? $6.
$6.
$6.
We've only had one quote so far.
Okay.
That's front and back.
Yeah.
Do you know if you just had one side, or would it be?
It'd be cheaper
Same
just to
price.
have one side.
Yeah.
I'd say it'd be cheap.
But I think, even at $16, even if you sell them at 30, that's not unreasonable at all for a shirt to get, for a t-shirt these days. $30 is about average. And also because the people that are going to buy them know that they're buying it for a good social enterprise reason. I think you've got to, if you stick with this, and you get your message really clear and you make those connections with clubs, I think you're onto a winner, guys. And if you stick with it, I'd be happy to give you the money that you need. But there will be some provisos around that too. It has to be that you will see this through, and we would have to put some things in place to make sure that happens. But I'd be happy to provide the ask that you're looking for today.
Thank you very much.
As Claire said, and I know that she's said it before, what you were saying at the beginning was about trying to help people who probably don't have the opportunity to do sport because of cost impediments to getting into it. And I was waiting to sort of find out what the business was actually doing to make that connection. And then when you actually came through to saying what it was, you lost, the hammer through. It really didn't sort of come through. Sort of like, oh, look, if they need balls, we can do this, and it might be these random clubs out in the West or something like that. And that's the real key part of the message, and I think that's something that you really need to make very, very clear and quite simple. You probably would need a website in order to have clubs contacting you, which is what you want them to be reaching out and doing that. But once the idea became, I got it, I guess, I can sort of see that, if you were to approach gyms and have asked to be able to sell your products within those alongside their own branded kit as well, that would be the sort of thing people would come in there and they'd like to be able to get that. I think that they would pick up on the concept of helping other people who are disadvantaged. They all know little brothers and sisters that don't play sport because it's too hard, or you're looking at an old kit. But again, how you actually get to those people and how you and what percentage, how you actually deliver it. You said you would make it, people would be really clear on where their money is going, but I don't think you're really clear on where their money's going, so I'm not really sure how you get that message across. So the beginning through to the end, there's just a couple of areas, but conceptually I really like the idea, and as Claire said, I think that the the fact that you've sort of like come in branded
Yep.
and worked together is fantastic.
Great opportunity. Your downfall will be your messaging. You've got to get, as Claire said, very clear on your messaging, because white shirts are abundantly available everywhere. So you've got to make
Charge,
it
eh?
really clear why they need to buy your shirt
Mm.
with your simple branding on it. So they're not buying a t-shirt from you, they're buying access for people who can't pay for sports. So you've really got that in. And my suggestion would be that you would actually use the money to pay for the actual fees to participate. Like you sign up for soccer season, cricket season, and there's registration fees. That would be a really simple message. Rather than I'm giving balls or I'm giving this, our money goes to a registration fee for one child that would not be able to actually participate in that sport.
Yeah.
Really simple, really clear what you're actually doing, rather than, there's lots of people who do sport, balls, bats, then you're not competing with them, you're actually just paying the registration fee for a child to actually participate in that sport, to actually be able to turn up and play a competition and be part of a team. So that may be one way you can get some clarity, or consider that as a possibility. Great that you wore your MVP, fantastic, that's excellent. I think that's really who is going to buy it and why they're buying it. That messaging's got to be really clear. So maybe on your t-shirts, maybe it's a pin with a flyer that sits on there why people should actually buy your shirt. Because you can use social media, but if you're going to work with clubs that might want to sell your shirt, you're going to have to work at how you're going to leave that messaging on your shirt, because the clubs are not going to sell it for you, they're just going to put the shirts in the clubs. So think about that as well. But get some clarity around why you're doing it and what you're using the money for, who you're helping. That will help sell the shirts.
Sorry, you haven't been yet, have you?
I have been.
You have been. Just
Just
one
listening.
last thing. I'd be very happy to put you in touch with a guy called Duncan Barker, who's based at the Innovation Centre. He's been in the news recently. What he does with shirts and apparel is he's got these cute little chips, right? They're wearables. You have it on your arm here or here. And what you can embed in that is information about what you do and where the money goes to, and you can update that so that people can then just go and get all that information. It can also link to your Facebook page or your Insta account so that people could order directly from you, so that you could make organic sales just off. So if you would like me to, I will do an introduction to Duncan Barker and see if he might be able to come on board with you guys and help you move
That'd be great.
your
That'd
brand
be awesome.
forwards. So if you can just at the end give me a contact email address, then that would be brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
And the name of the logo is great. I mean, yeah, it's really simple,
You've done some
and it
good
delivers a
branding.
couple of messages. Yeah, it's good branding stuff.
Just
So
got to
yeah,
get your messaging behind the brand.
yeah,
Simpler.
yeah. You know what you wanted to get to,
Yeah.
but you just sort of
You
like,
don't-
lost that impact.
And well done for really taking it back. You could have come here and said we're going to do 3 different shirt designs and 3 different colours, but you've left it with one simple design to go out with. I think that's really important that you actually pat yourself on the back, because a lot of people actually overcomplicate that. You've kept it really simple with one shirt, white.
Before, were you saying that we should have somewhere on the shirt explaining what we do?
No, so when you're selling the shirt, when you actually, like, you'll have people that might be actually be the conduit to sell, like a gym could say, yeah, we'll take your shirts and we'll try and sell them to the members. Now, they're not going to be able to sit there and tell your story in selling the shirt. So a simple little thing that you design that you just pin to the shirts.
Oh, and they can take it off.
Yeah, they can take it off, but the messaging around why they should be buying the shirt is actually there.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
that way, or Duncan's way, where it's actually embedded into the shirt, is another way of actually doing that messaging.
And with Duncan's way, potentially they could also say, I want to be helping with fees, or I'll be providing equipment, or you never know. I mean, once you've got a list of people who are
it's
using
just it's just core information.
Okay.
Okay.
Initially.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
No, well done, everyone.
Well done, guys.
Go get your money. Step forward and accept it. You ask for an
No
investment.
worries. Now you
Thank
need
you.
to see if we need to meet up at the end of today
Yeah.
and put something in place, because what was your ask? It was only $120, wasn't it? Was that- what was your ask?
We did say 120.
What did you really
Yeah.
need?
I think as much as possible to make as many, or not as much as possible. Because our shirts are $16, so we think we'd probably, depends how many we'd want to make to start. Like,
Well, maybe find one club, sell your story to them, and just say, okay, how many do you want to take on board? How many can you install? Go back, supply that, and start it simple.
Yeah.
Then you'll know how many shirts.
There are 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic debris in our ocean today. 5.25 trillion. Contributing to this massive problem are wax combs. Wax combs used by surfers to scrape the wax off their boards and enhance the strength of the old wax. You use this by using the either people say teeth or jagged side of the comb, and you have a forward motion or a circular motion, and it really scratches it up. And then you have your second side, which is the more sharper side for peeling the old wax off. Wax combs made of plastic, polluting our oceans. Surfers not only are always losing their wax combs out of the pockets of their board shorts, but in their cars and even in our ocean. The very surfers who worship the ocean and hate to see it polluted are a part of the problem. We have the solution. Hello, I'm Jordan and this is Sade. We are EcoSurf, the company that creates eco-friendly bamboo wax combs.
EcoSurf is all about good vibes and good product for a good environment. We want to create an amazing product that can inspire an amazing eco-conscious community. We want surfers from all around the world to join together to create awareness for the growing problem of plastic pollution. Our wax combs will be targeted at savvy surfers who consciously think about the effect their actions have. We also believe that they will be perfect for any surfer who uses them. When you buy our wax combs, we want you to know that you are making the right choice for your board and our earth. We are aware that there are already other bamboo wax combs on the market. However, we have found that these wax combs are an inferior design to our EcoSurf combs. During our market research, I called multiple local surfers, asking their opinions on bamboo wax combs and whether or not it would be something they'd be interested in buying. They told us that they would love to have a bamboo wax comb that functions as well as a plastic one. They also told us that the existing bamboo wax combs are too thick, the teeth are too short, and that they simply aren't strong enough.
We listened to their feedback and incorporated their comments into our design. Here is our prototype, also the one in front of you. As you can see, as a normal wax comb, it's got both sides, jagged teeth at the sharpened side. Our comb is a fun new invented design that doesn't look like a traditional wax comb and is very comfortable to hold. All of our combs were made out of solid, locally grown bamboo, so there's no need for synthetic glue. Something else actually unique about our wax comb is customers have the opportunity to actually place their initials onto it. We believe this is a very compelling selling point because some of the most popular things on the market today, like customizable, like phone cases and number plates. We are certain that our surf wax combs are meeting the needs of our customers and our earth.
We first plan to sell our product locally at markets and some Sunshine Coast stores. One of these stores will be Noosa Land and Sea Brewery, as we already have some connections with Kimmy, the owner. Next, we will start expanding our market reach through our website, as well as selling through no-tox surfboards. Once established, we shall pursue a B2B partnership with Good Wax, an eco-friendly surf wax company, which is also sold at Land and Sea Brewery. Follow us on Instagram at EcoSurf. We are super stoked for EcoSurf and we hope you are too.
Well done, girls.
Great presentation.
Thank you so much.
And what I really did love is the detail that you actually spent talking about your MVP. You got your message across clearly, and then you spent some time talking about this, because this is ultimately what you're selling.
Yeah.
So spending some time telling us about that is great. Chris, how do you personalise this? How do you personalise it?
With a laser cutter, you can etch in the initials, so it will turn a bit darker,
Yep.
and it will slightly dip
And
down.
you would do that for the
Yeah, and the logo will also be.
So what was missing was around the pricing
Yeah.
in that, yeah. So personalisation will cost more, so can you speak to your pricing, cost of goods sale, what you'd sell it
Yeah.
for?
We confidently can say none of our wax combs will be over $7, so it'll be between $5 and $7.
With the personalisation?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
How much is a normal wax comb?
So plastic ones can range from $2 to $5, but with it being bamboo, it will have to be a tad more. And during the market research, we asked if that would be a problem, and the local surfers said that they understand that they're paying for the bamboo and they don't mind if it's a bit more pricey.
Do you use a wax comb every time you get wax, or you just hopefully not if you don't lose it?
Well, wax combs are kind of like a partnership with wax. So I know personally when I go out surfing, you'll use the comb to it makes the wax more grippier than actually just recoating with more wax. Scratching it up gives it more grip, and that's why a lot of surfers use it. And a lot of the eco-friendly surfers will not actually purchase plastic ones, and they just use their fingernails because it's not eco-friendly. But no one likes using their fingernails because it just doesn't feel good.
Who's going to manufacture combs for you?
At the start, we can do it in our industrial tech room, but do you want to talk about?
Well, there is an Australian laser cutting service online which will supply the bamboo for you and will laser cut your company's logo in for you and everything. So we can do that as an option. Yeah, and I've talked to them and ordered stuff with them. They're really good people. But then we also, for definitely the start, getting used to it, we can purchase the bamboo and then use a skill laser cutter. And
so with your MVP, are you planning to, if it was me, I'd be planning to produce maybe 20 or 30 of these
most
in bamboo, because at the moment this is ply.
Yes.
And then see how they go at the beer and
Yes, and also the market stalls we're planning on doing, that would also be a good test for our combs.
That's what we firstly wanted to do, is set up at somewhere like Bullcock or Alex to see if they're actually a worthy product that people want. And when you're talking about really making a lot, you can get a 60 by 60 piece of sheet of bamboo, and you can get about 42 wax combs of that size out there.
And the sheets are usually around $30 to $40.
And where's the bamboo sheeting coming from?
There's Bamboo Australia.
Yep.
They're down near Yamundi and Kenilworth.
And there's Bamboo Land as well, which is near Yamundi.
Yeah. Excellent. So it's local product.
Yes. Locally grown,
I'm
yes.
really impressed with that. And have you thought about, once you've got your MVP and you've got the ability to laser cut into it, sending it to some of our top surfers?
Yes.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. Yes. On the startup day, we talked to Renee, and she said that she could give us connections to Bindi Irwin, and she surfs. So once we have them, it is a goal to send one to her.
Yeah. Good work, girls.
Take on to it.
Yes.
Good work.
So you said that this is better than the current bamboo ones. Why or how is it going to be better? And is that just because you think so? Or?
When I was doing the market research, everyone that didn't like them said that they were too thick and the teeth were too short. So when we were designing ours,
Because this is thick with short teeth
compared to the others, they are much thicker.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay, that way.
Yes.
So you've got your MVP. When are you looking at testing your MVP? So it actually does the things they want them to do.
Well, I took that home and used it on one of my own boards, and the jagged teeth, although it did blunten them a little bit for the most part, it was actually really good. It did work
And
very well.
once we make some out of bamboo, we'll do the same thing. Try it on our boards, give it to
So
other people.
you're right, that will get blunt after time.
Mm.
So even though the plastic ones get lost and whatnot, if this is not able to be used over and over again, it's still a waste.
That's why we need to find a bamboo that's strong enough that it won't do that.
And even looking at varnishes as well, eco-friendly like beeswax to put over it so it holds it.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
with the teeth as well. The teeth as well. The wax doesn't actually get stuck in them.
Yeah.
So usually the plastic ones, all that wax gets lodged in them. But with the shape of it
Allows for them to actually fall out.
Yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, you wouldn't want them to last forever anyway, because you're only going to sell one to a person, you know.
But you'd want a couple of uses for it.
Yeah.
You want to be able to actually get the wax off your board a couple of times before
Well,
you
yeah,
start using
you
it.
would anyway, wouldn't you?
Yes.
But, you know, obviously, you know, maybe in 6 months' time or a year's time, it might be too blunt to continue using, in which case somebody would buy a new one, and you'd hope that they were so happy with this that they would again buy another EcoSurf.
And that's a good point with that as well. You don't have to be afraid to chuck it out because
Yeah.
we're hopefully trying to make them biodegradable, so they will break
Yeah.
down over time, unlike
Well, a
plastic
piece of
one.
bamboo in the environment is far more preferable to,
Plastic, yes.
because there's no resins, there's no glues,
Yeah.
synthetic glues involved. So
Just think that process through, because bamboo, if it's thrown in the bin, ends up in landfill, is actually more toxic than plastic waste in our ocean because it's creating methane, because that's an organic product. So think through the waste message. You started with the waste message. Think about how your product's actually at the end of the cycle of that waste message, how you're actually going to manage that. Because if that goes in the bin and ends up in landfill, that's toxic.
Yeah.
It's as simple as basically putting, I mean, I really like the idea of personalising it, you know, people they're more likely to keep it themselves, their initials or their name, their hanging, whatever it is like on it. You could also just have on the bottom of there,
Yeah.
please don't bin me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
something
something
like
as
that.
simple as that,
Just
yeah.
think that through, that whole cycle.
Don't bin me, yeah.
keep me, don't bin me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even
I
throw
think
me
it's
in the
great.
bush.
I think, yeah, exactly. Or plant me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If serious, don't laugh. If you really wanted to take your waste message, because that's your key to everything, that's your value proposition is the waste, take it one step further and use the bamboo with some seeds in it. Because you can get pencils with seeds in them, so at the end of the pencil goes into the garden, creates a seed, put some seeds into your bamboo, and then plant me.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Thank you so much for definitely do some more
Get
research.
bamboo.
Really
Figure
build
out
on
why.
Yeah.
build on your waste message. If your waste is your value proposition, really hone it home.
Yeah. That would be, yeah, you could do that. With the pencils, do they just drop them down inside and then
Yeah.
bung up the end?
Well, a pencil gets sharpened and used
Yeah, yeah.
and sharpened and used and gets to the point where you can't use
Yeah,
them
yeah, yeah.
anymore. You put them in the garden.
Yeah. So you could
And
do
as it
that. You
breaks
could
down, I
have,
guess the seed just becomes
or in this end.
You'd have to have your resin. Think it through, but that's another option. You have to have your resin over the top because you don't want it in the water and it's starting to sprout while you're using it. But if the resin can protect the seed for enough uses, then plant it, and through the
Yeah, the
biodegradation
beeswax.
process, that resin wears away, and eventually you've got a plant. And you could say, choose. I want to plant basil when I'm finished with it. I want to plant parsley with it, or something like that.
So just so I'm clear, so there is bamboo combs
Yeah.
around at the moment,
Yeah.
but they're not as good because they're too thick and
The teeth are
the
too
teeth are too short.
Yeah,
And
the
the
teeth
prices they're
don't
selling
do
for
the
at the moment are the same sort of $5 to $7 that you're talking about, or
Not necessarily. Sorry, not necessarily. That a lot of the bamboo wax are actually more expensive than
like
$7.
10, 15 kind of thing.
Yeah, even not even $10, $15, $12. That's one of the most
Okay.
expensive. So it's usually between $7 and $12. And I personally, as a surfer, I don't want it. Even though I think I'm going to pay
No.
$7 to $12.
But you're happy to pay between 5 and 7.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. But you haven't tested it yet because you had a problem with some of the bamboo you tried with first. Is that what you were saying before? or?
Am I correct in that it hasn't came?
Oh yeah, we've ordered some, but it just hasn't arrived on time. That's why we had to resort to using the
So
ply.
then you've got to cut it and give it a go and,
Yeah.
and see what happens.
But for instance, that cutting it only took a lunchtime. Only
Yep.
yeah.
And that's okay. When you're just doing your MVP and you're going to make these yourselves in the industry block, then that's cool. Are you looking for investment?
Yes. We would like some money to start buying more fly sheets to create the bamboo wax chromes, and then a little bit of money to make the stall that we can test our products.
So what sort of investment are you looking for?
We could do so. Our whole idea was for 120 for either 120 for the bamboo we want to pay for the multiple sheets and how many we can create out of those multiple sheets. The setting up of the actual stall at Alex or anything like that, or even paying someone else that runs type of innovation beach centres to be able to put our stall there, and also connections you guys have to broader.
Just a word on getting somebody else to, you think somebody else to sell it for you?
No, sorry, not
Yeah.
sell for us, but for us to be able to put our stall
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah, you can't set up a stall.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
very
yeah,
true.
yeah, because
Is
nobody
there-
will sell it better than you guys.
Is there a better way than a stall?
Well, the stall was just for a start to see
Yeah.
if it is a, you know,
I'd
something
be
people
thinking
actually
about
want.
just giving away to start with, going
Yeah,
down
yeah,
to,
You're-
as I
you're
say, Alex and
surfing.
Bullcotton.
You are the surfer, and
Yeah.
I've just put in here, you need to personalise your presentation more with you. I am a surfer. We didn't get that until we started asking
Yeah.
questions. That needs to be part of your presentation because that connects you to the idea.
Yeah,
You're surfing. You already are around surfers.
yeah.
So you get whatever you've got, whether it's a website or a Facebook page or an Instagram page or something like that, and if you can put that on there
Yeah.
and give them out to people, even just to say, let me wax your board, comb your
Yeah,
board
yeah,
for
use
you,
it,
type thing. Oh, where'd you get that from, type thing.
Yeah.
And
It's
just
good.
sort of like get people using it, and then get
Yes.
some traffic coming through the page.
Couple of minutes left.
Yep.
I don't want to sound like, in a way, I'm bragging or anything, but like you said, with I know surfers and I have connections to them, with the wax comb, once it is full and somewhat completed and we want to actually start testing it out, I've got a cousin who's sponsored by Rip Curl,
Yep.
and I got invited to actually go surfing with them, and I can bring the comb and I
Yeah.
can just say,
Exactly.
How
You
do-
don't need
yeah.
a stand.
because another good selling point for it is even the Rip Curl My Bikini, that whole episode, and shows there's actually a video of the women waxing their boards, and they've all got plastic wax combs.
Yeah.
But it's not.
You've got an opportunity to actually go out through your contacts, one or two influencers who actually can go out and test that, and if
Yeah.
they love it, poof, off you go.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't think you need a stall down at Woolcock Street. You are the conduit to all that you need.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm very interested in investing in your company.
Yeah.
Me too. I like it.
I would like to talk to you seriously about that, as I think that this has got an amazing legs, and I think that you're in the right position to take this company forwards.
Yeah.
And I'd also not only like to offer you cash, but also to offer my services and my, anything that I can bring to the company to help you become profitable.
That would be incredible.
So, I'd like to offer you $500 to help you get going, and then we need to talk about the legalities of that and what my return on investment will look like.
Yeah.
That's for 90% of the business, is it?
No, don't be silly.
Well, my offer looks weak compared to yours, but that's right. I'm happy to talk to you as well.
Yeah.
Bring some money in there.
Most definitely.
I don't know anything about the surfing, but I'm really in that waste space, so I
Yeah.
can help you with
No,
getting that
yeah.
message clear. It's really on trend at the moment, so
Yeah.
let's think about this, using the circular economy. That's really on trend at the moment too. We need to tap into both of those.
We're running out of time, but I mean, I won't because you've got enough coming from them, but have you got Insta pages or Facebook or anything? Oh, no,
Yes,
EcoSurf,
Instagram.
that's what I got it there. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely, cool, no worries.
Please come and see me afterwards. Who's your facilitator? Steve.
Right behind you.
Okay.
Who's the
So
lovely
we
bit
just
that
need
goes
to
to
sort
conference?
out all the legals
Yep.
around it,
Thank you.
okay? Because it will be a properly binding agreement that was set in place.
No, done.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that should help you get your MVP out there. Let's see what we can do together.
Done. Let's do it.
Yeah, that MVP needs to get in front of those surface hands.
Well, I think it's all a no-brainer from everybody, $40.
$40.
Thank you so much.
Okay, girls, $40.
You'll have to start developing a partnership agreement for us investors.
Sade, so you missed you put Jordan on the spot at the Innovation Centre sort of like a few weeks ago,
Yes,
The
I didn't mean
Thursday
to.
night.
Yeah.
but you did compliment today, so it all worked out well.
Well done, girls.
Thank you so much for
See you later.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
That's all. Good stuff.
Thanks, girls.
So where do you serve?
Okay. So we all share a common dream. Crystal clear blue oceans, white sand, tropical vegetation. It sounds simple enough, but is quickly becoming unattainable, which is why we find this so disturbing. Ocean pollution is quickly becoming a leading world problem. Worldwide, 13,000 to 15,000 pieces of plastic are dumped into the ocean every day. Every year, 6.4 million tonnes are dumped into the ocean.
So our plan is simple. Crystal Jewelry for crystal clear oceans. We're aiming to create a product that will allow consumers to donate to a not-for-profit organisation through our business that is dedicated to ocean cleanup.
The organisation we are choosing to give 15% of our proceedings to is called Ocean Cleanup, who are committed to creating advanced technology to rid the plastic in our oceans. So, a customer purchasing our product not only gives them a beautiful crystal necklace, but also the satisfaction of donating to help fix a leading world problem. We were originally wanting to donate 25% of our profits, but we decided to start at a lower amount purely because we're a new business, and also the fact that in future we can increase our donation amount instead of decreasing it. So, as a part of our market research, we released a survey to 120 boys and girls from the ages 12 to 17 from the Sunshine Coast or close surrounding regions, asking a series of questions about our idea. We received only positive feedback from this survey, with 97.5% of people saying they believed ocean pollution was a problem, and 92.4% saying they considered crystal pendants and appealing for a necklace. From this, we have been able to verify that our idea is appealing and feasible. We completed further market research into our potential competitors. Our competitors all sell jewellery and donate a certain amount of their profits to helping the ocean. All of these competitors either focus on a bracelet or sell different types of jewellery. So what makes us different is that we focus specifically on a necklace, and crystals are our only product to demonstrate our focus for crystal clear jewellery for crystal clear oceans. Another thing that makes us different is we're Australian based, so we focus on the Sunshine Coast. So we're taking advantage of that they are located in the UK and the US, so there's no real Australian based Sunshine Coast jewellery company here, so we're taking advantage of that. So our target audience, being located on the Sunshine Coast, which is where our business is based, is beneficial to us because this area is coastal and beachy and booming at the moment in coastal lifestyle. So this means that our customers will be able to fully embrace and fall in love with our products because it's a part of their lifestyle on the coast. So we have been able to create a prototype, which we are both wearing and you have beside you. And from this, have been able to have an idea of our pricing, profit and expenses. Each crystal is around 55 cents when bought in bulk, and the necklace is around $3 to $5. We plan to donate 15% of our profits, and if each necklace is sold for $15, we look to make a significant profit. We do have other expenses such as pliers to make the jewellery, and at selling times things like packaging, business cards and flyers. But having a significant profit means we will be able to account for these expenses. Leading into the next stages of our idea and the development of our product, there are things we need assistance and help with to have the best chance of being successful. These include things like social networking advice, how to operate our social media platforms in the right way to develop a customer base and inform our consumers. And moving forward, we would also like general mentorship in business, finance and marketing to get a general idea of where we need to go next. And we would also, to get started, to have our first 50 necklaces, we would also be willing to take an investment as well. So $250 would be what we would be around needing to have our first 50 necklaces, because we are incredibly passionate about this and we want young people to be able to take advantage of the coastal areas before they're destroyed. So, yeah. Crystal clear jewellery for crystal clear oceans. Thank you.
Well done, girls.
That was really cool. That was great, and these look really good. I can't believe that you can get this for what?
Quite cheap, yeah.
A couple of bucks.
Yeah.
Type thing, all up, and even selling them at $15. I mean, I'm sure that these sorts of things are more than that even at a lot of market stores.
Yeah.
Just doing the thing around, just with, you say, the really basic product. So, did you put anything into cleaning this up or cutting it? Or you just got the crystal like this?
No, they're actually, they come like that. They come on like a long string and it's about 20 crystals.
Okay.
So, and that costs about $11. So they work out at about 55 cents each.
And so I saw you got 3-4 different crystals there, so
Yes,
there's more in your range that you're selling?
Yeah, we haven't got the pre-hanite because we only received them this morning.
Yeah.
So, which is really annoying.
So, do you have to drill a hole through them?
No,
they
come
come
like
straight.
just on
Okay.
string.
The hole's done,
Of
that's
course,
why
yeah,
imagine
yeah.
if they had to do the holes too. that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
And the pre-hanite will be a big seller. That green
Yeah.
is
The pre-hanite's lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, first Question, who is your target market? Who are you selling this to, and how are you getting in front of the target market?
Probably like 12 to 17-year-olds,
Yeah.
like we said, that we did our market research for. I think that like since we're living in this coastal environment and like people are always going to the beach, it's like such like a good place for crystal necklaces.
And how we plan to like interact with our target audience, there's heaps of local markets around here that we'd be really interested in going to, like Bar, and there's Woodford Markets, Caloundra. So I think
12 to 17-year-olds hanging out those markets?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of people go through those markets. So yeah,
I think so, yeah.
But social media, I mean, you asked about
Yes,
that. I
we
mean,
do have social media. We have Instagram and Facebook. So.
Okay. Who were the two people that said that there's no ocean pollution? And did you start?
I have no idea.
We did
to
it.
be
Oh,
honest.
it was anonymous, was it?
Yeah.
So they might have just been a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
type thing. That was
Kind of
huh?
making a bit of a mockery
Yeah.
I
of
mean,
it.
it's a bit of a loaded question, really. Wasn't
Yeah,
it? Do you
yeah.
think there's ocean pollution?
Yeah.
You know.
Some people, no.
So what's your value proposition?
Unique value proposition. Probably that we specialize in necklaces with the crystal pendant, and we're not looking at changing that. So we're looking at staying specifically at necklaces.
It's more a value proposition.
And the Australian one you mentioned, I think,
Yeah.
as well. I
So
mean,
that's,
it's
that's,
crystal
that's,
clear.
that's your product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your
Okay.
product.
Mm-hmm.
So in your presentation, I think you skirted around what your value proposition is, but it's not being very clearly articulated.
Okay.
So you need to think about that more closely, because people buy the value proposition. What's in it for me?
Okay.
So if I'm asking what's in it for me, why should I buy this necklace?
Yeah.
The answer to that is your value proposition. And I don't think you quite got to there. You've skirted around it. You've got 15% profits going off. You've got a waste message in there. Then you're doing profits to help with the clean up of the ocean. I think it's in there somewhere, but I think you need to nail that down a little bit further.
Okay.
And that audience you're going to, those 12 to 17-year-olds, really savvy consumers, because they've got no money. So whatever little money they've got, they want to know they're spending it and getting value out of it.
Okay.
They don't have high disposable income.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got two things. First is touching again on what Helen said about your value proposition. So it might look a little bit something like, you know how today we're all very aware that the oceans are becoming clogged up with plastics and are not necessarily the crystal blue that we want to see. Well, what we do at Crystal Ocean Jewellery is we create beautiful necklaces made from crystals, and we donate 15% to blah, 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 the company. In fact, we have just taken an order for 30 necklaces from such and such. Okay, so you need to state what the problem is, your solution, and then validate it by saying something that validates what you're doing. So that's the first thing. That's a very easy way to establish your value proposition. So if you can remember that, what's the problem? What we do, and then validate it by, we're currently taking this to the market, or somebody has already said, we've done a survey and 199 people said that they would purchase this. I wouldn't limit yourself to that market. I wear one of your competitors' items here from Fort Ocean, and I'm 55, so my age group are probably more aware in some ways of the problems. A lot of us have been singing and dancing and shouting about it for years and years and years, and we have disposable income. So don't rule us out. Don't rule, your parents and your grandparents' generation out, because like we've been fighting for this too for a very long time. It's great that we're getting some traction through younger people, because you're the people that are going to be inheriting the responsibility. So think about that, because 12 to 17-year-olds, $15 is that's a very reasonable price. But personally, I don't know many 12 or 13-year-olds that have got $15 to spend on a necklace, and they would have to be really concerned about the environment to want to do that.
Yeah.
and now only 15% of what they're buying is going to ocean plastics.
Yeah.
I think you've got a real opportunity to actually rethink the value proposition there. The
Yeah.
donation is really lovely, but if you can put more detail around, is that crystal sustainably mined? Where do you get it from? Is it local? Is it all of those other things around it? Because people are now asking more details about their product. Who made it? Were young children in the middle mines in South Africa used, exploited to get that product here? And if that's the case, 15% is not going to cut it. So
Yeah.
if you could bring more of a sustainable message to your product, I think might also help pull it all together as well.
Yeah, where are the crystals coming from? Did I miss that?
They're coming from China, so
So it could be from anywhere in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can have a look into and email who we're sourcing them from, into all of that.
And other alternatives, even if it affects
Yeah,
the price.
definitely.
I have kids, and I agree that the market 12 to 17-year-olds is you don't need to narrow it at all. You know, people will buy. For them, they may be into the people who are wearing it, but anybody could buy it. And I also don't think it's a huge amount of money. Kids will seem to have a ridiculous disposable incomes at the moment, just from doing a couple of hours at KFC or whatever it might be. I still think that as everybody has sort of said, that making the connection between why I would buy this and saving the ocean is one of the things that it would be nicer that people were buying it for that reason rather than just pretty jewellery, and having a market stand is really just going to be looking at the jewellery, unless you were part of a Save the Ocean type stand, which does happen on World Environment Day and things like that. If you were to tack onto this one because we do this, and that might be a way of making the connection. I'm sure your Instagram probably makes that all quite clear, but just in terms of honing that. But I think that the pricing model is really good. I mean, you're able to make a lot of profit, and if you can do that and get some volume up there, then you've got a lot of options in being able to get all of the resources that you need, all of the expertise that you need, and to be able to make it happen. Have you got your own brand in there? Have you got a logo or any of that sort of stuff yet?
We have our logo, which was absolutely
Yeah, right. The front.
this one.
Yeah,
right
there you
in
go.
front.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's nice and simple. That's all right.
Yeah.
There you go.
The thing that, one of the things that concerns me is that, I mean, I love crystals, but this compared to Four Oceans, everybody knows what this is. I mean, it's like, why would you spend $35 on some plastic beads, a bit of
It's a
string,
brand
and
view
a
as well,
tiny,
isn't it?
Yeah.
and a tiny bit of tin? It's not so much about what the thing is; it's about the message it conveys.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
That's what they've done very well.
yeah, Four Oceans
Mm.
have. What concerns me is this doesn't say anything to me other than it's a nice piece of crystal.
Yeah.
And unless somebody asks me, oh, that's nice, where'd you get that from? And I then tell the message, there isn't enough there to sell your message, to convey. And I think you can get over that. It might be the addition of something like a tag or something, I don't know, something that's to do with your branding. But have a think about that, because you need something that is, all your competitors that you've mentioned they do that.
I actually thought that when you first started talking that this was actually plastic in the same sort of way as Four Ocean. I was going like that. I thought, oh, that was clever. You've actually sort of made it look like a crystal, but it's actually plastic that's been taken from the ocean. So.
Which, if it was, would be
Brilliant.
great.
Mm.
Would
That's
be
the
great.
missing link we're talking about.
If
That's
you-
the
Yeah.
missing
The
link.
link between
Recycled plastics, if you could do that,
Make
a
it
block
look like a
in
crystal.
recycled plastic,
Winner.
and then with a hot stamp, you stamp in crystal clear on it.
Yep.
Who wouldn't buy it?
Yeah.
50 plus women like me would buy it, at $35.
I think what we're trying to do is bring that purposeful message
Yes.
stronger into your product.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's just a piece of jewellery that donates 15% to charity.
Yeah.
That's
We
all the
definitely
messages we're
understand.
getting
Yeah,
to
I
at the
definitely
moment.
understand.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people that have crystal available.
There's lots of
that sort
people
stuff.
that do that,
Yeah.
you
That's
know?
the-
Like, I
yeah.
mean, I have an issue with Thank You Water. They donate for water products, but they create single-use
In
plastic
bottles, yeah.
waste,
Yeah.
nappy waste, products and other plastics, so their message is lost. Yes, they're doing great stuff, but they're polluting the earth in the process.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get those mixed messages. So if you can actually find a way of creating a beautiful piece of crystal that is linked back to a sustainable message, you're taking plastic out of the ocean like that bracelet's doing, fashioning it so people do it, they're not just buying a bracelet, they're buying the message.
Okay. Yeah.
So at the moment people are just buying a bracelet, and then as soon as you do that, you open up your competitors to anyone in the jewellery business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big difference.
Thank you.
Ah, cool.
But they're beautiful, beautiful looking
Ah, nice.
pieces of jewellery.